Welcome back to Switched to Linux. Well, today we are going to have a look at the brand new release of Elementary OS 7. Some people out there in the world have said that since they had some kerfuffle that I had talked about a while back and one of the developers left, some people said it moved in a lot of positive directions. I don't really know for sure. Elementary OS, of course, is one of those very controversial ones. It's kind of like Ubuntu. You either really love it or you really hate it. There's very few people on taking a middle ground. I personally, if you follow my videos, I have not always had the best things to say about it for a lot of reasons that I've pointed out. And we're going to go ahead and have a look at the brand new version here to see if it is better, worse, the same. I don't know. So first what we're going to do is we're going to install it. And then we're going to have a look at what has changed while the installation is running. And then we are going to go ahead and have a look at the distros. So I am looking at this for the very first time. So we're going to use GNOME boxes here. And I cleared out my GNOME boxes because, my disk space is running low. We're going to create a virtual machine using an operating system file. And I have downloaded my Elementary OS 7 here. I'll just go ahead and add that. We're going to customize it. I want to give it more memory. Let's go ahead and give it 6 gigs of RAM. 20 gigs of hard drive space should be fine. Let's go ahead and hit our create button. And with this guy, we'll go ahead and maximize this for now. We'll see what happens here. So it's going to boot into the live OS. Now, some of the things that they had mentioned we'll look closer at. They said that they have some changes in sideloading applications. This has been one of those things that I've had an issue with in the past. And they have a few other things like power profiles and stuff like that. Here we have the Elementary logo. Now it looks like it's a little out of place here, but I'm pretty sure that's how my GNOME boxes is configured. Until it boots into the operating system, it rarely goes into the proper resolution, so that's an issue on my GNOME boxes. Elementary has always done a really, really good job with making sure everything looks really good on the splash screens and whatever else. All right, so here we are on the installer. It looks like it did fix its resolution there correctly, so we can choose our language. So English is pre-selected, and United States English specifically. US keyboard, that is good, and the default, that is good. Now try demo. Changes will not be saved. Data from your previous OS will be unchanged. So basically, if you just want to test it out and not install it, you can go ahead and do that. You can erase the disk or install, or you can do something custom, which is going to be create, resize, manage partitions manually. We're just going to go ahead and do the easy route, erase the disk and install. And some parts of it will run slowly or freeze or not function properly in a virtual machine. All right. Don't care. That's fine. Let's go ahead and install. And then we can either choose a password or don't encrypt it. So by default, it's going to ask us to do disk encryption. We're not going to encrypt on this one here. And now you can see it's going to be partitioning the hard drive and doing the file extractions and things like that. So while that's doing that, we're just going to go ahead and jump on over to the website here, and we're going to see what Elementary has to offer in the new build. So, of course, you can come over here and have a model that is trying to raise more funds, $10, $20, $30. If you want to just download it for free, you can do this. I will, of course, say it is very good to donate to the distros that you are using on a regular basis. But for testing purposes, I just hit enter the 0, and then this will change this to simply download it. And then here we can read the release announcements. And this is what we would like to do while our system is installing. And it is 77% done extracting. So what we have here, they're talking about the changes, and they said that they've had 40,000 downloads, which is about for about 3 times more, a little less than 3 times more than 6.0. Now, one of the things I want to point out here that I really like is they say this is not including downloads from third parties, direct downloads via torrent, because those all download the page. That tells me that Elementary OS is not keeping detailed statistics, and that is awesome. I really like that, because the reality is we don't want to have a distro that logs everything. Of course, Kodashi Linux was one of those ones pushed out. It's like, oh, this is an amazing privacy-focused distro. You can only download from exactly one place, and the guy actually says in his documentation itself, he completely logs everything, including user IP addresses. So, so much for privacy, right? This one, they are doing a lot better job with that. So today we are proud to announce that OS 7, codenamed Horus, is available to download and will soon be shipping on high-quality computers. All right. So they're going to help with getting the apps, empowering new users with settings, and evolving our developer platform. All right. Well, we'll be the judge of that when the thing finishes installing. So, here is your first thing is the App Center. Of course, the App Center is always been really good. I really have liked the App Store that Elementary OS uses, and I believe Pop! OS uses a fork of this. This is the one thing the Elementary team has done really well, is they've put together a really cool, easy to use, very visually appealing app store. It's their greatest strength, I think, outside of the whole sideloading issue, which we are going to get to in a moment. You can see here on a full screen and on a tiled system that it is going to look pretty good. So they basically put in some good responses. They focused on the app descriptions, making the app descriptions more appealing with more thumbnails. So we'll have a look at that and see how that looks good. And then the updates, the way they're doing updates is really good. So what they're actually doing is, as you are doing your various system updates, it's going to download the stuff in the background. And then as it downloads the stuff in the background, then what it's going to do is it's going to have everything prepped and staged, and then it's not actually going to update anything until you're actually ready to do the reboot. But it doesn't ever force you to reboot the system, meaning that you can hit all the downloads, download all the downloads and everything, and then right when you're ready to finish up, you can restart the computer and then apply those settings. That way we don't have any issues coming along, such as packages going bad or things like that. So in real time, by the way, the distro has finished. It called for a reboot, and it looks like as it rebooted, it looks like it did not actually boot the system out. So give me just a second here. Indeed, it did do what it was supposed to do. So let's go ahead and jump on over there while it's doing its thing. So basically, it rebooted, and now it's going to ask us for all the information. Once again, here's all the information. This is the previous one was getting the installer prepped. This is actually getting your system prepped. So now we need to use the name here. Let's just call this Elementary. We'll use my super secret password. That's definitely not 123. Hopefully it allows me to use that, even though it gives me a warning. I'm fine. Let's just standard device name. Elementary, Watson. There you go. Of course, I got to spell Watson. My joke failed because I typed wrong. All right. Go ahead and finish setup. And then now we're going to get logged on in, enter my super secret password there, and let's see what happens when we get logged in over here. So we'll go ahead and get back to the guide here in a bit if we feel we have to. So here is some basic information. Here's a basics guide, communities getting involved. All right, so next we can choose our look. We can go with sunrise to sunset. It's going to use either our clock or our location data, and IP address to choose, whether you want light or dark. Well, I find that doing light theme works better for the videos. We'll go ahead and stick with the light theme for now. Choose our accent color. Ooh, we can do, is this multicolor or is this based on the desktop? I think this is based on the desktop, based on the wallpaper. So you can choose regular accents or go with whatever your desktop is doing. Very good. Here is your night light. So I hate this feature. This is based on, this is one of those things like our dietary guidelines in the United States, completely based on false information. Oh, you got to do this to help you sleep better at night. Yeah, complete nonsense. Studies have demonstrated it's complete nonsense, and I completely hate that. I always uninstall those things. All right, housekeeping. Older files can be automatically deleted after 30 days. So temporary files and trashed files, of course, you can set download files as well here. So if you want to make sure things are always staying empty, you can go ahead and do that. You can, I guess you can use connecting online accounts. So let's go ahead and click on that and see what type of accounts we can connect online. We have basic CalDAV and basic IMAP. So very simple, very basic settings, nothing significant like Google or Microsoft or even better, Nextcloud. We can browse the App Center. We're going to browse the App Center in a little bit. You can also sideload from FlatHub. And then you can do automatic updates. Do you want to update things automatically or not? You have the option to turn on, which is off by default. And now it says we are ready to go. Very good. Very good indeed. All right. So this is Elementary OS. If you've never seen it, it is basically a Mac clone, even though they say it's not a Mac clone. You can very clearly see it's a Mac clone. And they've actually done a lot of things to make it look and behave almost like a Mac. Once again, they say they haven't done that, but it's very clear they have. And I remember kind of early documentation even suggested they might. All right, another thing that they've always done really well is they've actually had good parental settings. So we actually have those here as well. Now, I can't show you the full function of how this works because we have to have a secondary account set in. But the idea is if you have a family, this is a really good computer system to have because you can have each child, for example, having specific screen time set. You can tell it to allow certain applications and not allow certain applications. You saw we just had a notification for updates are available, and then we have the button icon notifier indicating the updates are available, so that's good for those. So here is you can prevent your kids from accessing certain websites. You can prevent them from accessing certain applications. So those are one thing that they've always done pretty well. The other thing I really like about it is it does not overwhelm you in settings. Of course, this means that you don't have the ability to do a lot of deep customized things that you might really want to do. It's no XFCE with full-fledged basic full-fledged everything can be changed. You're pretty much stuck to exactly the way they want you to use it. And that's always been a negative a lot of people have had about it, myself included, that it locks you down. Now, it's more open now than it used to be, but it is very locked down as far as what you can do about it. So firmware updates, that's always a good thing as well. Let's see, here's applications. So you can set your default. Their default is just your basic applications installed here. But if you did want to change any of these, you'd need to install a separate file, file browser, files, code, or terminal. Oh, there you go. Here's your startup applications. And here is where all your app permissions are. So you can allow certain devices to have access to things, but other devices to not have access to things. So you do have a nice ability to fine-tune your permissions there. So that's actually a really nice function and feature that they have. All right, let's have a look at the App Store because that's the first thing they really wanted to focus on. So here's Hourglass. So this one is listed as $1. I'm not sure if you have the ability. Yeah, you could go down. You could try it for free. This is one of the downsides about it is it's unclear to me if these are actually free or if, you try this for free or would you have to pay for it eventually? I don't know. Here's the thumbnails they're talking about. That's good. Let's look at LibreOffice. LibreOffice. No apps found. Okay, what Office suite do we have? We have no Office suite available in the curated repository. So to be clear what's going on, they have a curated repository. Like a lot of distros will have a curated repository. Apparently loading that causes the system to crash. That's exciting. Let's try that again. Nope. Third time's a charm. Office. Nope. So if you want to actually be productive on the system, maybe it may not be the thing. So here we have, let's see. It's under, nope. Okay, well, apparently we cannot browse the software store. We can see this. So their software store apparently has regressed, and we don't actually have the easy ability to set that up. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump back over to the website and see if we can gain a little bit more insight about what might be going on over here. So sideloading apps using alt stores like FlatHub is a major feature. Let's see. So here's your updates. App Center installs operating system updates, ensuring they're done correctly. Sideloading apps in stores like FlatHub is a major feature and competitive edge over closed platforms that only let you install apps from a lockdown store. We've made several improvements to soothe out the experience of using alt stores based on your feedback and the latest cross-platform. Now, this is the old window that I always had an issue with, because very, very well-known apps would show up as being untrusted. And that is a huge, huge deceptive thing, because we're talking about applications like GIMP, like LibreOffice, like VLC, anything that they have not specifically put in their app store, which you can kind of see is fairly limited. In fact, right now, I'm actually just having an issue even seeing anything. So, okay, look at that. I actually got into there. All right, let's go back and try Office again. Maybe it was just downloading a cache. Nope. We can get into a couple things, I guess. Let's see. GIMP. No apps. You can also sideload from FlatHub. Let's click on that link there. That's probably going to pull up a website. Let's see. So we click on FlatHub. Yeah, that's just going to pull up the FlatHub's website, which for a person that's not as familiar with FlatHub and how to use it may not know exactly how to use this. Now, they might actually have stuff configured. Let's go ahead and see if they do. So if the system is configured in a certain way, you can actually click the install button and install. All right, so install the untrusted app. This app provided solely by its developer and has not been reviewed. It is fetching details. So we can go to the FlatHub store and we can come over here and we can install this after a warning that it is an untrusted app. Now, you used to actually be able to install these from the software store itself, but now it's not. And I don't have particularly slow internet right now, so I'm not sure what it's fetching right now, what is taking it so long. And, you know, I mean, to be as fair to them as possible, I might very well be missing something. The problem that we have right now is that I kind of know what I'm doing over here, and this is not the first time I've looked at Elementary OS here, and it seems like it has regressed. It seems like it has gotten worse, not better. It's still trying to fetch information about the app. Come on. Are you going to pull up or not? Interesting. So I'm not sure what it's doing there. As I said, as I've tested this in the past, you could actually find these in the software store. So it's like they removed these, like they removed the ability to attach the store to FlatHub, which is funny because they had made a point one time ago saying, hey, we're going to use Flatpaks because it's a better way of having, you know, the immutable systems and stuff like that. The problem is every time you try and install a Flatpak, it tells you it's an untrusted, uncurated, untested app, and this will cause serious problems, particularly if somebody has switched over to Linux because of they switched to Linux because of privacy, and now you're telling them that this guy here is an untrusted app. Now I have to click a button that says I understand, Updates will not be reviewed. Download size is 1.1 gig. Install anyway. I'm not going to download the 1.1 gig right now. But you can see what the problem is. They used to be in the store and now they're not. Now, I might very well be missing something. But I did read over their documentation such before we started. I didn't see any reference to it. This is the only thing under the settings. Enable updates. I'm not seeing anything else. Let's check out LibreOffice. Let's click on the FlatHub button here. That's probably going to take us back to there. Let's close that. Here's your LibreOffice. You need to click the install. See, this used to not be this convoluted. You used to be able to get in here and actually do this. Here you go. Download. It's untrusted app. I can't get into the software center to see if there's actually any other. Is WPS in here? I'm just going to look at every Office software I can think of. Okay, WPS Office is in here. Now, here's the problem with WPS. Okay, this is one here where it says it's non-curated. So it does give you a warning. At least it's in here. WPS isn't the option. We couldn't access the Office section to see if this was in there, but at least we have this. The problem with WPS is this actually has a fairly onerous terms of service. It is proprietary software. And so we have WPS of an Office, but we don't have LibreOffice, which is the gold standard for open source Office applications. Let's see if Only Office is in here. Okay, so Only Office. Non-curated, not reviewed. This one here is certainly a better option. So we have that as a system. Let's see if I can just do a generic search for Office at this point in time. Come on. Okay. All right, so here we are. WPS, Only Office. Okay, we do have a LibreOffice here now all of a sudden. I couldn't find it before, but here it is now. You saw me search for it earlier. Maybe it was still downloading the FlatHub cache. We're going to go with that. It was downloading the FlatHub cache. So it is non-curated. We click to install it, and now it's installing. It's probably downloading a bunch of stuff, but that's okay. I'm actually borrowing Walmart's internet for the day, so I'm not hurting my own bandwidth. It says it's installing down here. Okay, hey, get back. You can't click this. It says installing. Just back and forth. We're going to go with that. As it was still downloading the cache. Okay, we'll go with that. We'll assume that was the case. Let's see if I can click on these buttons now. Hey, it's working now. We're going with that. We're going with the fact that the Software Center was still downloading stuff. So there's my my advice to the elementary team here. Make sure you have some form of animation that you are still downloading the cache on first install. Of course, the whole thing seems to have frozen on me now. I've actually had that happen to me once before on elementary as well. All right, so let's have a look at the applications available. We have a list view, like a menu list view, and we have an icon view. I prefer this one better, personally. So we have a calculator, we have our feedback, we have photos, we have mail. Is that Geary, I think? No Office suites by default. We have basic code. There's camera, here's system tools, App Center files, system settings. Let's just have a brief look at our files. All right, there you go. One thing they've had wrong in the past is that the video player, yep, still the same. Video player does not follow the system theme. So we have the music player is following the system theme. The video is not. Let's see if we can change some things around. Okay, here's the appearance. Let's go with our dark mode. Here's your text size, your dock size. Here's your multitasking options. Okay, and we do have a lot of beautiful web wallpapers. That's good. All right, now let's go ahead and reboot these two applications. So video's good. And now music is good. So the video has never actually matched the system theme. It's always been dark. I think they've said, you know, because watching a video on a darker background's better. I think that's always been their justification. But you can kind of see, for the people that are really, really snobbish about making sure everything in their system looks perfectly integrated, that can be a problematic thing. So there is, in a nutshell, Elementary OS. Overall, I'm not seeing a ton of serious changes. They're managing their warnings a little bit differently. If you're downloading, sideloading from the flat packs, it seems to work. Now, instead of giving the big pop-up all the time, now we're just getting the non-curated up in the corner, just to kind of see what was going on. So overall, I don't really see a serious direction in Elementary that would highly make me recommend it. It seems to me like a distribution that's simply trying to duplicate Mac in look and feel, and a Linux distribution that is very locked down. My biggest concerns remain, as my biggest concerns have always been with Elementary OS, is that the distribution itself is marking well-known and highly respected apps as untrusted and uncurated. And if that's your approach to say, we're going to use Flatpak as our system because this provides the best mode, stop telling me that those Flatpaks are untrusted when I attempt to install them. It makes absolutely no sense at all. So once again, I do have to give Elementary OS another bad review. Not because I don't like the Mac UI, has nothing to do with the UI. It just has to do with the fact that they lock the system down. They try and be like, we're going to use the flat packs to have a much better system, but then we're going to warn you every single time you want to install them. The early issues with the software store continuously crashing anywhere I tried to go, that's kind of disheartening to a person who's jumping on over here and be like, oh, I thought this was good, but it keeps crashing. It just turns out it was probably still just downloading the cache. So we probably need some information about that, at least on the first boot. But then whenever I try to install something from that software store, unless it was one of the extraordinarily narrow, I can't even estimate a number, but it's certainly less than 1,000 applications perfectly curated, you're going to get an untrusted app warning. That is problematic. Very problematic. So for those reasons, I'm still not going to recommend Elementary OS. Of course, it is an option. A lot of people love it. And so if you look at the, if you can look at the ratios on the video, half the people are going to love this one, half the people are going to hate this one. But I'm just calling it as I see it. It's not horrible. I don't think it needs burnt with fire, but there's just nothing in here enough that's going to seriously compel me to want to use it. That being said, though, we were interrupted by with the new release features, so let's go ahead and walk through the rest of those before we wrap this video up. No longer a warning dialog every time you install an app. Instead, we show an icon instead. So we did see this if you're downloading something directly. This is their new approach, which we did see in here, but it's not reviewed by Elementary for security, privacy, or system integration. So that's what they're doing. We do have a web apps application. Maybe I saw it. I can't remember. But basically, like the ICE applications is embedded into GNOME Web 43, which is what they're using. So if you are using a lot of web software stuff, you can go ahead and do that. Of course, what are they using? I'm trying to see. Is this like iCloud numbers? Interesting. Okay. Here's new features and settings. They do want some feedback, so you can go ahead and provide some of that. And then here is your initial things. Now, if you used, of course, I use my mouse as regular. If you're using the right mouse click instead of the left mouse click, it senses you might be left-handed. And so you have the option on first install to basically set the system on a left hand instead of right hand. That's a really cool feature. So that is something that they have going on for it. And then here is the screens. We've walked through all of those as we went through. Office productivity in here. Here's your printer configurations. Seeing if there's anything else groundbreaking in the final release. I think we pretty much looked at almost all of this. And we didn't dwell on the icons. Now, there's also an icon browse app, so you can see all the icons shipped. Okay, so if you want to do that, you can do that. And there's that's about what we have. Yeah. So there's Elementary OS 7.0. You can download it from their website. I will have a link to their website down below. As I said, my apologies. It's not a blowing smoke up your heinies, but there's enough issues that, once again, Elementary OS does raise some concerns for me as a free and open source guy who uses some of those trusted applications that they say, oh, we don't know if this is secure or not. Then if you want a highly curated system and give warnings about that kind of stuff, curate more apps. At least curate at least one app to match productivity, image editing, and basic things like that someone might want to use. If you disagree, let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, let me know your other thoughts. Thanks for watching, guys. You can join us over on the Matrix community at Switch to Linux at matrix.org. We are on over there, a few different boards over there. You can interact with some discussions and things like that. And with that, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.